Gonna launch ARMAJET here. No longer functioning because it will not connect to good old interwebs to find battles, which is kind of funny in the sense that you could fight against bots as opposed to just live people out there around the world. But I guess I'll walk through my favorite few combos here before I delete the game for good. Played this for 4.5 years, off and on. There's always a daily item to collect once a day. Amazingly enough, a lot of these game functions are still working, so you kind of go through and feel as if you're able to play it, even though you can't play it. I spent all my Paragon. That's what these little, I don't know what they call them, dodecahedron-shaped diamond-colored deals are. Yeah, I don't have any to spend. I only got 176 left. I need 24 more to buy anything else. It doesn't matter. Everything I bought I couldn't use. So you have a variety of characters and things that you can probably find all over YouTube. From Kruger all the way to Ruthless here. But, nonetheless, it's they all had, ultimately, they ended up with different strengths and weaknesses. Ruthless having the most health and the highest allowed shield, because this guy, 65, so 1337, which was only earnable. The skin for this bot was only earnable by completing I'm forgetting the name of it, survival method. You had to get through district, I think, in order to win him. And so then they added a bunch of worlds after that. I'd actually stopped playing for a little while. Not like stop, but I took a few months off. That's probably the longest I ever took off, was after getting him. You have all the different skin colors, which some of which not in the weapons have different impacts on the way that it works. So in terms of your gun speed, your speed of the character, the frequency with which it regenerates, or basically it gets reloaded. But yeah, I didn't use him a whole lot. He had the highest shield. Ramirez ended up being my favorite. Unfortunately, these stats here are based on for survival, and when you're in non-survival mode, like I am right now, it's selected here. I'm gonna go back way out. Under here, you normally would pick survival. And these are all the worlds that you could play. Different maps. Starting with Magma was easiest, and in order to earn him, as you see here, he was earned on that one. There's other ones you got a hefty sum of Paragon for completing, 2,500, 2,000, 1,500, and so on and so forth. Then they eventually added Factory, Laboratory, Dunes, and Cauldron, and then Beach, all as the kind of the last major updates to the game, along with Offworld, in order to just earn more and more Paragon. They were all topped out at 2,500. They never introduced an additional skin for your character or figure. But even when you're selected, see, I have these picked, the different games types. Even when you're selected there, for some reason, when you go into your pilot, if you spend any coins to build up his survival, like I could, just like go ham and spend all the coins here. Got nothing else to spend it on, right? I got 656,240 left. And that this only impacted survival stats. It didn't impact any of the other games that you'd play, which is the majority of the games you would need to play in order to be kind of more competitive in it in terms of gaining your experience points and different things. But nonetheless, because he's upgraded and the rest of them aren't, you see the raw or baseline stats, like he's 110 health but 50 shield, so he's kind of lower health. Ramirez is 110 and 50 as well, so Eli and Ramirez match. He gets a 10 downgrade, so he's the flat 100, which is as low as it goes. A lot of people liked Amiko because she had slightly faster speed and the full 100 and 100 or 110 for health, but her shield suffers a little there, 15 less. Jackal was very similar. He had a lot of fuel, so he was kind of fun if you really needed to stay in the skies, with otherwise the same stats as her. And Ramirez is a half out of 1 to 10, he's a half point lower than the other two I just showed. Rogue was a favorite in terms of just the looks. Sassy gal. Ripped up pants. I actually got the Volt, I think, out of one of my last mega packs. But anyway, I bought that one with Paragon a long time ago. I kind of fell out of favor with her because she had a good shield with the lower health. Jetpack fuel's pretty low. She had good speed, same as Umiko, but shield is a huge bonus over Umiko, but the hurting points being the health and the jetpack fuel. So the other one I really liked was Underworld, and really any of the characters made them look pretty amazing. Her hair and her eyes, pretty crazy. Firestorm's super similar, but the added flames and the ripped up clothes is definitely like a different vibe. Anyway, I'll go back. Anna was another cool one. She probably had my favorite skin in the whole game. Real basic 150 on the health and shield, but she had this Inquisitor skin as an homage to Star Wars Rebels and what's come out of it since then in recent times, which didn't exist at all when this skin was out. Definitely my favorite skin in the game. Just find it incredible. Cool little kind of like a tail pauldron there. And then the other one that was similar, which I got later, was Paladin. It's just the exact same skin in a I guess you could say more of a classic. And this, if I'm not mistaken, this honors World of Warcraft, the Paladins that you could buy. I played the very first WoW back in the late 90s, using a DSL modem to fight against people. But yeah, the Paladin looked almost exactly like this, and they took a lot of gold to buy, and they could really lead an army, as I vaguely recall. Wisp was okay. Kind of a weird face mask, but cool wings. And then, to get her look for Underworld, like her stock armor, so on and so forth. Kruger had some really cool ones. Skins I never actually acquired. Super Fortress. This was an original skin to the game. Kruger went through some pretty major changes compared to when ARMAJET first released. He had 4 different looks. He had this one with the twin circles. I don't think his face mask looked like that though. And then he had this kind of funky, horseshoe backpack. Actually, it literally looks like a horseshoe fish or whatever they call those. And then he had this one that had circles on hovering over his arms, but were with this body type. But he had these literally floating circles that would like glow over his elbows and his biceps and his thighs, I guess you could say. I don't think any of these skins do it. Then they have this hazmat one in Midnight, I think is the same shape, with basically like the VR goggles and an antenna on. So he had 3 completely different looks as well, but in the original version, it was just Kruger and Anna. And they eventually added 1337, but they gave him a different name. If I remember right, he was called something else. And I preferred using him the most. He was my favorite original skin out of the 3. When they did a huge revamp, that's when they added Umiko and Jackal and Rogue and Ramirez. And then eventually, you had to win him. And then Eli and Ruthless, if I'm not mistaken, were the last 2 added. And then you have all your weapons. And you have, which you could probably still test weapons. I didn't think of that. But you have the Black Tusk was like your primary. Oh my gosh, I can't get this thing to back out. There we go. Primary, basically machine gun. I think I got every single one except for the Crimson, because you had to pay for that pack to get all the Crimson weapons. They all had different. The damage would stay the same no matter what, but your fire rate, your range, your projectile speed, and your mobility, I was kind of hinting at earlier, all vary by skin. That was not originally the case, and none of these were impacted by skins until kind of the final 2 years maybe of the game. Ember was one of the better skins for most weapons. It would give you nice rounded upper end stats for the fire rate and the range in particular. sometimes hurt mobility. But all the fun ones that were considered legendary, and whatever this gold one is, I can't think. Um, these purple and orange, if you will, titled ones typically were the ones favored by most players because they had the funnest or coolest looks to them. So it was cool. I mean, really, all these are bangers, but they all have different stats. You see, like, 12.7, 26 meters. That's a pretty far throw on the machine gun. That was 22. Virtual and Chroma were favorites. Chroma, you had to. I mean, you could pay for it or win it, but you could get it for free by downloading some app. I don't exactly remember how I did it, but I got this skin a long, long time ago, like probably 4 years ago. Virtual is one of the hardest ones for me to isolate. I think I eventually got it in a pack or something, or maybe I bought it. Blackheart was one you had to win from competing during some Valentine's Day event a few years ago. Ginger Blaster was awesome. I think that's one of the few skins I bought directly. Metal TV and Bunch I got kind of last. Gold Tusk I think was the very final one I picked up. Anyway, that was like a major primary gun. You had Iron Bark. Ultimately, because the damage is 15 on the bullets, and a lot of them went further in range, the only knock with Iron Bark was your mobility hurt because it's a bigger gun. So, I didn't really find most of these skins to be very enticing. Hipster's kind of lame. It's okay, I guess, but Baby Town's gross. Copper Eyes is cool. If you killed an opponent with this, they would explode into bits of like geometric copper. So it kind of had an after kill effect, which is pretty sweet. Mammoth is cool, matched up with the Frosty grenade really well. The fire rate's awesome on this, but the range kind of hurt. I typically favored Ember for this because the fire rate was just as good and the range is a lot further. I don't know if the mobility, yeah, you get a little faster mobility with Mammoth. I don't think I was missing any of those. Nope, Methuselah, never unlocked that one. Really terrible fire rate, but good distance. So I probably would have never used that skin even if I had it. Phantom I next to never use. I kind of hated this weapon. It fired 3-round bursts. As it kind of talks about there in the top. It's just, and the impact damage is only 15, so it's not like you were getting 20 or 25 or something to make it offset the use of the Iron Bark. But Judgment Day was an incredible skin. Great T2 with the red eye scope. It's just, did a killer job on that one. That was another one that had copper. Yeah, it's looking through Martos, the King. Show off. I next to never used any of these. I just did not care for this weapon at all. Now, having said that, I did get it up to level 20, so I did use it. I mean, guys who really don't use their stuff, it's a level 1. That one's a level 65. Typhoon was overused in the game. The favored being Immortal Fleet had 15 and 22. The fire rate. This had 12.5 and 23. It was hardly any different. I think Sweet Nectar. It's 10 and 24. I like the further distance of this one versus this one reloads quicker with the fire rate. But with the distance of Sweet Nectar, this is probably my favorite skin of the game. It just looks really cool too. Little Hummingbird. Plunder would explode into gold coins upon death if you got the kill with this weapon. There's several Plunder skins throughout the game that are not unique to any one weapon. Several of them are like that, but yeah, most of these are unique to each weapon though. Big Wave. Yeah, they're all pretty cool. And then the last, what do they call it? Assault weapon. Basically a kind of a rapid fire type. This Quantum is a laser rifle. Shot these kind of long laser bullets, if you will. And I think that was the very last one I got was Tesseract. Quite certain it was. That was interesting. They went really heavy with the space theme. It was a little overkill. So they had visitors, obviously like this UFO thing, right? Then you had Tesseract, which is weird. Has this like alien-esque robo vibe. Sparta, and then you had Rebel, which is sweet, X-Wing. Totally looks like something Luke would have flown. One of my favorite looking skins in the game, frankly, even though it's kind of understated. Sparta was probably your best all around, and killer look too. I'm not a big fan of gold, but the red inside really made it pop. And yeah, the Rebel was cool, but anyway, and all these stay the same throughout the game. All the other non um, weapon specific skins. I use shotgun a lot. I had that one at level 80. You see over here. So Dominion was a major favorite. This is just a single burst of basically 4 bullets in a spread that were worth 25 each. That's why it says 25 times 4. Patriot had the best range, slightly lower firing rate than Fancy Bear. Kind of ironic to have like Russia pitted against the U.S. It's like the Cold War weapon or something. It's kind of corny but funny. So I use both those quite a bit in terms of favored skins. Hearts. If you got a kill with any heart skin, this is not specific to this weapon. I think I have a couple of them. They would explode into a heart pattern that looks just like this on the screen, kind of like take up the screen. Dynasty is a cool one. And then Speakeasy is really sweet. That was a sick skin. And then let's see what else here. Trimmer I didn't use much. It had a bounceable shotgun. It was a spread fire shotgun, but the flak projectiles, it kind of had this shape that went boop. And I don't know if it really was. Just wasn't a favorite to me. It had a lot longer range, so the range could be really helpful when you can kind of rain down the flak bullets on certain people. Any of the tropical ones would explode into pineapples that look like these dudes down on the skin down here. Calavera is really dope looking. Dia de los Muertos type skin. Firecracker. This was one you could win by competing on like Chinese New Year, if I remember right, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even 4. I think it was Candy Crush, Sweet Crush, Omelet Arcade. No idea what that was about. Never understood that one. I must be missing something. These Guardian, Cleopatra, and Quake, I think, were actually some of the favored ones. Cleopatra looks a little too much like some of the others, like basic skins. Cavern being one. Static was the one I was maybe thinking of. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know that one. Why that one was so basic. Put her on a giant scorpion. It's like, well, didn't make it look like a scorpion. I never understood that one. Quake is sick. Really like the Quake print. Some of these really remind me of Nike. Nike used Quake print, Huff Quake, and the Shade was always a favorite. It has this kind of a elephant print vibe. With a kind of a crackled skin look, but Shade's on every one. Lycan I used a lot. Yeah, I only had it at 39. I'm surprised I didn't use it more than that, but it's harder to get a kill with, 9 times 4 in terms of the spread. If you got people at point blank range, you could take them out pretty quick, but that's pretty rare in the game. Copper Eyes, you see that again. Intimidator. Some really funny ones, like that's was supposed to be your best or hardest to get skin until they added Copper Eyes to the game, and it's it's so corny. There's another one that's worse. Is under the Wildfire one, but that one's pretty sick. Savage. Big Game Hunter is a fun one to use. Kaiju is cool. Kind of looks like the Rebels quantum gun in terms of the coloring. And then, gosh, this video is getting so long. Curse Claw. That was a crazy one for Halloween with all the eyes all over it. It was a really, really, really cool skin. It had great stats too. These are your sniper rifles, your sniper based single fire guns with long waits in between firing. Long Claw is kind of Clover is kind of bizarre. Never quite understood the connection of that, the stained glass, but well, reliable. Great looking country western gun there. Copper Eyes. Headache is sick. Kind of looks like Virtual and Chroma. What a crazy graphic too. The squat's funny. Has this, I guess, this kind of ghetto fabulous white and gold look. I don't quite understand the paint, but clearly has this kind of a graffiti style vibe to it. Inner city. I don't really know what to call it. But and then the prey, bird of prey. I don't know. These look a little too similar. I never quite understood why they made the squat and bird of prey look so alike. Like I get that they have a feather pattern on it, but it's so gold. They should have like darkened this one up. Look a little more like a bird. Maybe added some yellow for the beak on the tip of the gun or something. I don't know. That was a favorite original sniper before some of these other ones existed. Nightfall was like a one-shot kill crossbow. And another tropical. Saxon was sweet. It's a great one. I think that was the last one I added. Shinobi is amazing. If you know Shinobi, the game from Nintendo. Love all the ninja stars on it. It's one of the coolest guns in the game in terms of the look. Akuma is kind of crazy. Stealth's just basically a straight up carbon fiber look, even though honoring the B1s there. Yeah, it is a crossbow, so I mean you had to fire it in that fashion. Velocitas had the heart skin option. Let me get that out of here. And then, yeah, Tiki was probably your best overall. Crazy long range on the Velocitas. This one would allow you to get skewer kills, so you could actually get multiple kills or multiple hits by going through the target or multiple opponents if they were in a line at the virtual sight on the top. Pretty crazy. Basically, it's a laser shotgun, laser rifle. Reaper's cool. Mobius is cool. These just had really slow fire rates, so waiting in between could just get you pounded. Plium was a fun one, or Pilum, excuse me, Pilum. It's kind of similar to Sparta, very very similar. Sparta Quantum, and then let's see, Leviathan was a favorite for me because it not only the look of the weapon being such a like modernized shotgun or sniper rifle with just all the like pieced together components, but also the skins are pretty killer, and it left a flame on the opponent. So after they got hit, they continued to be having like a -2 takedown on their health with an ongoing flame. Hopefully I can show that in some kind of a weapon test. Yeah, practice mode will let me try it. So there's your plunder. Kraken was my favorite just because of the range and the fire rate was amazing. Good old release the Kraken, right? Jolly Roger was awesome. Did not do a pirate theme like plunder. These look really similar in terms of the skin, but then the effect on the weapon, got more of an old school 17th century or whatever vibe to the plunder versus the Jolly Roger is just a straight up, pirate flag. But similar skin window down here. Hot Rod is awesome. Good, well-rounded fire rate and range on that one. Looks sick. Matched up really well with some of the character skins. Negotiator had one of the longest ranges in the game, 35.3. The Velocitas goes further, but the fire rate really hurts on this one. Having to wait, only 0.41 per second is really slow. It's one of the slowest rates in the game, but you get long shot medals with that one, so it was kind of convenient if you needed to pick that off to get the long shot medal. Launcher weapons typically have like an arc to them, or just have a long throw, have a longer range. This one also had a plunder. I don't think I ever used that. Supreme is kind of funny. Luchador, but dog oriented. And Trudeau Luchador, right? Pretty cool. I like the colors of that one though. Frosty, there only had a couple Frosty weapons in the game. As this one and the regular frag grenade, the regular grenade. I can't remember the name of it. This guy. No, I did say it right. Frag grenade. Cluster is one I was thinking of in my head. Anyway, they all have different skins. I'll have to walk through it maybe in a second video. This is taking too long. I thought I could get through all these in one swoop, but it's not looking possible. Dragon's Breath was really sick. Really nice job on that theme. Red Pill's kind of funny. It's cool, like digitized Matrix vibe. Thought that was kind of fun. Nasty was a good old honey badger. Or badger in general. I love the face on it. If you zoom in, you see the actual badger face on the tip of the muzzle there. This is an arc launcher, like basically a grenade launcher weapon. Yeah, I went through all the rest of them. What else is there? So many. Ripper was probably my favorite to use. Tropical was heavily favored because of the fire rate, 1.27. The range was 222 meters. Tool time ended up, for whatever reason, was your furthest range and best fire rate. I guess the mobility got hurt slightly, very, very slightly. Got 7% difference, but I didn't really care for the looks of it. I'm not a big DeWalt fan. I prefer Makita, but as a fun home improvement nod, and this ended up being the skin, heavily favored by most. It threw these blades. This weapon went through a lot of changes in the course of the game. It used to do burst fire of goes joo joo joo. It's fire 3 at a time, and then pause, and then 3 at a time, and then pause as it reloads. Then it became just a 1 at a time, basically a single launcher, and they kind of changed the category of it. So this weapon was heavily modified throughout the course of the game. At 1.2, the arc was really flat, and then it was really, really arced, and then it ended up back to very flat, but it bounced too. It would bounce off of walls. A lot of these other ones are really cool looking, like Bonesaw, the whole Jason theme. And Steampunk is an amazing looking skin, but it has a very plunder vibe, just without some of the artistic add-ons. But in 1 second, the 30 range, actually, I think that's the furthest range of the whole game, so not a bad option there. You just had the slightly slower fire rate to offset. So anyway, that was a favorite. Havoc was a RPG gun. Rocket propelled grenades, really nice. Copperized. Cerberus was Cerberus, 3-headed dog. Cerberus is really, really an amazing looking skin. Apex is a little too literal. Would have been cooler to me to have the kind of more like the teeth and the eye of a T-Rex or something, as opposed to just a scene in Jurassic Park type of vibe. Trash Pan is hilarious. Really stripped down, kind of boring looking skin. It's basically like a trash can, but cool idea. Boomer is fun. That's just a really cool kind of an homage to what's on the deck of some of these battleships, and really loud, being so bright. So anyway, that was a really cool rocket launcher. This one got nerfed for distance. At one point, the distance was much further, and then the fire ranges got so short that it wasn't as favored. It used to have straight up sniper style fire range, and when they got rid of that and they made it a launcher, more of a true launcher weapon, it kind of changed everything. This one is a weird one to have in the launcher category because it's heat seeking and it does rapid fire. The damage is really light, and Seeker was one of the last rifles, or excuse me, primary weapons added to the game. Cool look to it. It looks like something that would increase your mobility, but some of the skins are lacking. That Wipeout was really lame. I don't even know what that refers to. Just looks super boring to me. Some old surf logo or something. I don't know. Imperial is sweet. It's probably my favorite to use with the fire rate and the range. Didn't get the level very high on this, only because I didn't really have the gun very long. Midnight was cool. Kind of had this wolf-esque vibe with the red eyes at the tips you see there. And then Lignum. Lignum is interesting. Kind of has this like wood-framed look. Nice wood handle, but anyway, it was a unique weapon that unfortunately didn't have very much impact on the damage. And the heat seeking was cool, but the range was so short it didn't make it for a very good target find. Thunderstorm at one point was like the dominatrix game weapon of the game. It just everybody used it. You couldn't wait to get this skin or this weapon unlocked, and heat seeked. It heat seeked. Oh yeah, it won't even let you go into practice mode. Dang. Lightning bolts. Mjolnir is, of course, that's like you gotta have that. The Thor tribute there is perfect for that type of weapon. Did a hearts one for the exploding hearts kill. Unagi is really cool looking with the Raiden kind of vibe and just that Japanese style artwork. So definitely it's a really well thought out skin. Didn't really look like Raiden, it just except for him being on the skin there, kind of honoring. Gigawatt's so cool. You got the light tower, the Back to the Future vibe. Electricity looks just like a hoverboard. Such a sick skin. I really thought that was one of the best ones in the game. I swear I'm not saying that about every weapon. Some of these I don't really care for the weapon or the skin. But Category 5 kind of has this tornado vibe. Pretty cool. Kind of just ends up looking like a night camo. But yeah, the fire range and the range has just got so nerfed on this gun. It got almost impossible to use with any kind of frequency. I mean, not even a single one over 7 meters. It's really, really short. It's almost like a close range weapon. These are all under the experimental guns. Venom is crazy. It literally spit acid. Yeah, I can't try it. The stock is actually not a bad look. So it had some pretty rad skins. Tropical was another option, like it was for many others. I swear I must have went past some. Goodness. Oh, it's in here. The Locust is what I was thinking of. Locust is another one. It's experimental because it shot these big orb balls, which I'm sure you can find on somebody else's games on Twitch or something. But Patient O and Biohazard, or what ended up being kind of a Breaking Bad kind of a vibe if you watch that. Love Breaking Bad. Rattler, really well done. Kind of used this spinning orb thing part as the eye. It's had a really cool look. Kind of mimics a snake's mouth even. The way that kind of canister hangs off. Symbiote looked really sick. I just didn't care for this weapon. It was great in a team situation if you knew your other players and you could hang back and kind of either protect the goal in battle ball or kind of spray the floor. But from a direct use standpoint, just going toe to toe with people, it shot in 3-round bursts, and then all the poison would basically linger on the floor, causing further damage if you walked on it. But really well thought out skins using heavy animal vibes. Neurotoxin. You got poison dart type frog or poison frog, and Black Widow, and then the Rattler. So obviously all those kind of came in the same category there. I liked Locust a lot. I used it quite heavy. Got it, double the level there of a lot of other weapons. Unfortunately, the Swarm is probably one of the most literal translations, and I don't think it looked very good. I love green, but the yellow wings is kind of cheesy. Astral is probably I think it was Astral, your fastest fire rate. Yeah. Favorite by far was Hellbender. I mean, that's just an absolutely incredible looking skin to me. The kind of realistic flame, just so sick. Makes me think of Stargazer from the song by Rainbow. Tropical was used pretty heavy because of the fire rate, but Astral had the fastest fire rate. I think it's probably one of the ugliest guns in the game. I absolutely can't stand that combo. It's just very bizarre to me. Bright gold with the magenta. Kind of looks like a accidental paint job on like an early 90s mountain bike. Anubis was a fantastic looking one. If you don't mind gold, little teal on the throat of the barrel there, or tip of the barrel, I guess technically. But yeah, and it looked good in other skins too. Fire was kind of a favorite skin in a general sense. But yeah, and then the very last one is Wildfire. I use Wildfire really heavy because I got up to 78. This one I actually used as my primary weapon for survival. Is the one I put the most funds into. Even the basic stock look is really pretty mean, the red. But Pyromaniac, for some reason, is that. It's a unicorn. My Little Pony unicorn, that's the term I was thinking of. So, what that was about, just the sheer irony of it, I guess, was what they were going for there. But that was one of the best range. Fire rate's kind of sucky on this gun, but decent on the Heart version. Maelstrom's, that's a great look. Let's hail back to like I guess it's a Viking type ship. Pretty crazy. I guess it's to pay homage to like flaming arrows or something. I don't really even know. It's cool looking. Bacon eggs is hilarious. This is one of the more literal ones I really liked, just because it's funny. You got the sunny side up eggs on the canisters and the bacon going down the barrel, and yeah, it's just a great look. Really good range on that one. Apocalypse is crazy looking. That Mad Max vibe all day. Really cool looking weapon there. Totally fits the theme too. So yeah, that's it for the primary weapons themes. But video got so flipping long. Didn't even get to go through all the secondaries. I'll have to do that on another video. But yeah, at least we got through the pilots and the primary weapons. There's jetpack. There's all these ultimates. You can't change the skins, but they had to be unlocked by getting at least 3 kills in a row in order to unlock the use of them. God, it's so crazy not be able to even show how this game worked. But then you had your daily challenges that refreshed every day, your weeklies, and seasonal challenges, which are of course long gone. It says they reset in 1 day and 5 hours. They normally would fill in here even if completed, so that's definitely a sign of the game crashing. Anyway, that's a primary weapon skin kind of talk over, looking through what I had available to me anyway, which is almost every one of them. Because there's very few I didn't unlock. Crimson, anything from the Crimson pack, I didn't scroll down here. That was one of the only ones that I didn't unlock. I guess because it was a pack you had to buy. So my user profile is Viking Beats. You can see my armory collection's 95%, which speaks to the skins you have for your player. But I can go into that later.